What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the DigiKast, Bookmarked. I am Sherry's Joy, and I am so excited. I got my cue card. I am so excited to introduce to you my, I don't even know, my book experience from 2024. I am going to go over my top 12, my least favorite, my most favorite, why I decided to do this challenge and what the challenge is. And I'm just so excited for you to listen. Before you do, please take a pause to like and subscribe to the DigiKast. And I hope you enjoy the show. So my goal originally for 2024, because it's 2024, was 24 books. Not because it was 2024, but I figured I was going to I'd read 2 books a month, and 2 times 12 is 24. But by the time I got to February, I had already read 6 books and I was trending on my 7th book. So I figured I needed like an actual challenge. So I set up 4 books per month to read, making it a total of 48 books. I like rounded numbers. So I actually made that goal of 48. I turned it into 50 because I thought that was really going to be a challenge for myself. So I wanted to read 13 books by the end of the year, starting in October, and I was actually able to complete that. And I thought making a yearly goal in 2024 would actually really be great to do. So how I worked towards meeting the goal is, like I said, I've always been an avid reader. And before I became a mother, I would read 1 book per week. And that was back in like the Zane days, early 2000s. So I know my limits and my abilities, and I decided to use that as a base for my challenge. And I wish I had a faster pace of reading, but I think I'm doing pretty good at age 45 with 3 different types of glasses that I use to function in 3 different ways. Some of the books that I did enjoy, I tried to do like a top 10 recommended, but I have 12. So they are The X by Frida McFadden, published in 2019. The Housemaid, Book 1 by Frida McFadden, published in 2022. The Mother of Black Hollywood by Jennifer Lewis, biography, published in 2017. And this is in no order. Ask for Andrea by Noelle West Ely, published in 2022. 11/22/63 by Stephen King, published in 2011. The Maid's Diary by Lorith Ann White, published in 2023. Good in Bed, Book 1 by Jennifer Weiner, published in 2022. A Calamity of Souls by David Baldacci, published in 2024. It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, published in 2022. None Left to Tell by Noelle West Ely, published in 2024. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, published in 1943. And Verity by Colleen Hoover, published in 2021. Now, of these books, I've done 3 podcasts, and that was 11/22/63, The Maid's Diary, Good in Bed, Book 1, and those you can all find on YouTube in the link below. Out of these 12 books, I'm going to say that I really enjoyed The X by Frida McFadden. That book was a different type of twist. And, actually Frida McFadden has really good twists in her books. But The X was a really good twist, and I really enjoyed reading it. And I noticed that her books they take place mostly in New York, and they're very exciting. And then when we go to New York, like we just went a couple weeks ago, and I noticed some of the things that she mentions in her books, I actually was able to see. The Mother of Black Hollywood is Jennifer Lewis's biography or memoir, and her story is super interesting. Her background is started off in theater, and so she's talking about like the different shows that she was in, and she's talking about like her sex addiction, and just her life in general. When I think of Jennifer Lewis, I honestly, the first thing I see is her aunt role in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but there is so much more to Miss Lewis than that. A Calamity of Souls by David Baldacci. Now that takes place in my home state, whoop, whoop, Virginia. However, it takes place in like the Charlottesville area, and it takes place back in like the I believe it is the 50s or 60s, and it is about a trial of a black man who is accused of murder, and a white lawyer who is trying to trying to prove his innocence. And the book really took me in. I could really see everything going around. I love it when a story just engulfs me, I'm like in it. I'm in the book, I'm in the story, and I'm in with these characters. Like, these characters are my friends. I love sitting down with a good cup of coffee and a muffin or something like that, and just reading. My favorite time to read is when it's like raining outside, or when it's like snowing outside, just cozy on up with that coffee and a book and a nice blanket. Love it. None Left to Tell by Noel West Ely. Now, I love a good historical fiction. I love fiction. I love history in general. This one was different. This one, I actually found this book because I follow Miss Ely on on her websites and stuff like that. So this book is about the Mormon community in Utah in the 1800s, and it's about the Meadow Mountains massacre, and the story around that, a fictional story around that massacre. And I'm telling you, when I got to the actual massacre part, my hands was like over my mouth in shock for the entire chapter. It was brutal, and it was a tough read, that chapter, but the book was written so beautifully, and it was so good. My next favorite one, I have so many. I'd read so many good books, so this was hard. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith, published in 1943. Now, this is a classic, and this is a story about a coming-of-age story about a girl in Brooklyn, and a tree grows in Brooklyn, right? So it's about like her family and her family tree, and how all her families come together, and it's even though it starts off in 1912, and it follows her, I think, all the way until 1960. Even though it takes place back in those days, it really resonates with the times of today as far as coming of age. If you look past like the actual time period and the period piece of it, you focus on the coming of age part, then it's very understandable. But it is a very good read. It is also a movie, a classical movie that I couldn't. It's available on YouTube for free. I'm good with the book. Sometimes when you read a book, you just don't want to watch the movie, and because sometimes the movie just ruins the book, and it sounds like you're just watching a play. So the example I have with that is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I want to watch the movie, but I don't want to watch the movie because the book was written so well. So some of my least favorite books that I've read, I hate to say that, but you're going to have least favorite books, right? I mean, I've read 50 books, so there are going to be some that I didn't enjoy. And that list is this, in no particular order. The Killer Jack Mystery by C.H. Sessoms, published in 2020. Holmes, Marple, and Poe by James Patterson and Brian Sitz, published in 2024. The Housemaid is Watching, Book 3 of the Housemaid series by Frida McFadden, published this year, 2024. Think Twice by Harkin Coben, published in 2024. The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, published in 1986. And We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kleiwer, published in 2024. So I don't even, I'll start with this. So I know Frida McFadden, right? I have a bunch of her books on my list, and I just said that she writes some of the best twists. It's not that this was my least favorite. I mean, it was my least favorite, but it's not that it wasn't a good book. It was just, I was very disappointed in how the story wrapped up. I was expecting more from book 3. I was expecting it to be better because the first 2 were so enjoyable. When I got to this book, I was like, so I don't know if it was like written in a hurry because she just wanted to write a third book. I don't know, I don't really know, but it wasn't as enjoyable. I was very disappointed. The Killer Jack Mystery, that is a Gumshoe book that I actually got. I love getting free books. That was a Gumshoe book that I got earlier in the year. I believe in like January, second week of January, when Kindle or Amazon had the independent authors books listed, for free to grab. And because you want to read independent books, and I believe Noelle West Ely is an independent author as well. And the Killer Jack Mystery Gumshoe back in like the 30s or 40s, I didn't enjoy it at all. It was about like some missing jewelry, and I just didn't like it. And it is a series, and it's like a mom and pop type of Gumshoe place. The Handmaid's Tale, I don't know if I've missed my time on that. I don't know if it was because it was written in 1986. I don't know if it was because it was political, but it was not enjoyable. We Used to Live Here. It started off good, but then it turned into sci-fi, and I am not into sci-fi or supernatural stuff. And Think Twice, I couldn't follow that book literally like at all. So out of my least favorite authors that I have read this year, Harkin Coben, the Think Twice author, is going to be one. His writing confused me. And he is one of those writers that literally says what he's doing. I walked into the room. I sat down in a chair. I opened up a book. I said hi. They said hey. I can't stand that. Just tell the story. And then I'm going to say James Patterson. I know some people are like, oh my God. I've read quite a few James Patterson books, and I don't particularly not like his writing. It's just one of my least favorite. He's one of my least favorite authors. And also all of his books are co-authored, and he writes military type books, which isn't a problem, but military books can tend to get political, and that's just like not my thing. So pitfalls. What is my hardest, or what are my difficulties and things? So despite everything that's going on in our lives, we all have busy lives. We all have things that happen, but I do make time to read because it is what I enjoy and it is my escape from reality. I'm going to say the hardest thing for me to read, like I said, male writers, not all male writers, but I tend to find more novels written by male writers that are harder to read because of how it is written. Like I said, I sat in the chair when I entered the house. I told Jessie hello. Jessie answered back goodbye. I looked at him. She looked at me. I did this. I did that. Just like I said, write the story. Tell us what's going on. I don't need to know your every move. Biographies, I enjoy them. I enjoy reading them, especially the the anticipated ones of the celebrities, or the people of interest. I love hearing other people's stories. I love stories. That's partly why I love to read. But biographies can be a tough read, right? You're reading about actual things. You're not, for the most part, you're not reading dialogue. You're like just reading the story about what happened in somebody's life. And if it's not written well, you can lose focus on what you're reading. Now, I will mention that I read Boy George's story this year, and that was a phenomenal story, but it was tough to read because it was, all of the things mentioned were British, and I'm American, and I don't know a whole lot about Britain. To whereas I wouldn't understand like the lingo, some of the hard, some of the inner lingo, and also some of the people and the places I had to look up, which isn't bad. And it wasn't a bad biography. It was really good. I did enjoy it, but it was a tough read just because I didn't know the atmosphere. I don't know the country. Sci-fi, sci-fi movies in general, you got to twist my arm. Sci-fi books, you really got to twist my arm. Now, I did read Ready Player One and Ready Player Two, but those are, to me, nostalgic, and that was an easier read. But like sci-fi, like what I mentioned earlier, We Used to Live Here, it was like sci-fi mixed with paranormal, and I'm not into that. Hard read for me. My goal next year is going to be, I wanted it to be again 50 books, but my family was like, no, you gotta one up yourself, do 51. And my dear, loving, wonderful, handsome husband, Awesome Ra, was like, well, make it a round number and make it 52 books. So 52 books next year in 2025 is my goal. And I personally would like to see myself read more biographies and Black authors. I challenged myself. I didn't challenge myself, but earlier this year, I would say back in February, I said, you know what? I should read one biography a month, and I didn't do it. And I've got about 4 biographies sitting on my virtual bookshelf that I need to read. And one of them I really wanted to read by the end of 2024, and I just did not get to it. And Black authors, authors in general, if you're a good writer, you're a good writer. But I did notice that I don't really have many on my list for this year that are in 2024. Not a problem. I just want to see myself be more diverse. And I would like to read, at least a few. I would say at least 5 Black authors in 2025. And that would be, those are my personal goals for the year of 2025. Now, my recommendations, if this is something that you would like to do, I encourage you to do it. Go for it. Read. Reading is fundamental. I say that all the time, because it is. That is something that was ingrained in me back when I was like a kid, learning how to read. I remember seeing that on Sesame Street, PBS, something, PSAs. Reading is fundamental. It really, really is. It's good for your mind. It's good for your soul. It's good in general. But I recommend, if you do this, I recommend doing it. And if you do, pace yourself. Set a goal that if you want to set a goal, you don't have to set a goal. I'm just saying, if you want to set a goal that you think is going to work for you and your lifestyle. Do that. I have teenagers now, 17 and 18 almost. So they do their own thing. I don't have to worry about them. And I have a husband, everybody knows, Awesome Rob. We do all kinds of things. We travel, check out our info, our stuff listed below. We have busy lives, and I have to find time for myself. And I find that in my reading, and I enjoy my reading. So, find some place that's quiet. If you can't get full quiet, or, I actually, we have Spotify, a family Spotify account, and on Spotify there are a couple of playlists that I enjoy, like cozy reading or cozy jazz for reading, library music for reading, and it's all instrumental and it's very calming, and it really helps set that atmosphere. I highly, I read this on, I read this somewhere, and actually Awesome Rob likes to show me memes and stuff like that all the time. But this recommendation here, I agree wholeheartedly. If the book is boring, don't be ashamed to put it down and start another book. You've gotta be into what you're reading. If it doesn't grab you from the start, don't even worry about it. If you want to give it a little bit more, it doesn't matter if you're 2% into the book or 80% into the book. If it's not your thing, don't force yourself to read it. I will say, as an example, and not to knock anybody, this is not negative feedback at all. This is just my opinion. I enjoy Kevin Kwan books. I really, really do. And after I read his book Sex and Vanity back in 2020, I was waiting for his next book. Like, why I need more book. I need more Kevin Kwan books. I need to read another Kevin Kwan book. And Lies and Weddings came out this year, and I got 10% in and I put it down. It was confusing to me. There were too many characters. The book went from here to there to there to here to here and back, and it was too much. So if something like that is happening to you, don't even worry about it. And I know that this is a cliche, by far the most popular cliche, but it is wholeheartedly 100% the truth. Don't judge a book by its cover. You'll actually be surprised. Take the time to read the back of the book, or the insert of the book, or a snippet, or, utilize your resources, Goodreads, Kindle reviews, all of that. Heck, I've downloaded samples of books and done that. And I've honestly, this list of recommendations that I have in my top favorite authors, I have found them through digital advertising on my Kindle. A lot of people hate advertisements, but I enjoy them on my Kindle anyway, because I get good recommendations, and I had some great recommendations. So never judge a book by its cover. Do your research, and you'll be surprised. And just cozy on up and go for what you know, go for what you enjoy, and don't be afraid to stop if it's not enjoyable. So I hope you enjoyed the show. I am super excited, again, as you can tell, for my journey for 2025. I'm Sherry's Joy. You can find me on the DigiKast, and you can find me obviously on YouTube at the DigiKast. We have a blog, thedidikast.substack.com. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Spotify, the DigiKast. And please, please, please check out our Amazon affiliate link below, where you can find all of our wonderful things that we suggest off of Amazon, including, books, products that we purchase, like electronics, and, just keep hanging out with us, because we have some really wonderful things to look forward to in 2025. We do vacations on a budget. We're buying a house. We have some tips and tricks for you. We do home cooking videos, which we haven't done lately, but we might get back into that. We just have all kinds of awesome content. So please join myself, Sherry's Joy, and DJ Awesome Rob from the DigiKast on our wonderful DigiKast journey. This has been an episode of Bookmarked. Thank you so much for your likes and subscribes and your shares. Until next time, love the world.